Okay, so let's talk about September 1943. This is when we Allied forces launched one of the most ambitious and frankly controversial operations of World War II, the invasion of mainland Italy. The whole thing was born from this powerful, almost poetic idea, an idea that was about to get a brutal reality check on the bloody beaches of Salerno.
And this is it. This is the phrase that started it all, famously coined by Winston Churchill. The idea sounded pretty simple, right? Almost elegant. You strike the Axis through Italy, what everyone thought was its weakest point, and maybe, just maybe, the whole thing comes crashing down. It was this vision of a quick, decisive victory. But here's the big question, the one we're really digging into here. Was it actually a soft target? Did the reality of the invasion even come close to Churchill's confident prediction? Well, as we're about to see, the answer was anything but simple, and it was going to be written in blood on the Italian coast. To really get what was going on, you have to rewind the clock to mid-1943. The Axis had just been totally smashed in North Africa, and this huge strategic debate just erupted among the Allies. The question was pretty simple. What do we do next? And this was a real clash of titans, strategically speaking. On one side, you had Churchill and the British arguing like crazy to invade Italy right away. They're thinking, let's knock Italy out of the war, secure the Mediterranean for shipping, and force Germany to pull troops away from other places, like France. But on the other side, you have the American Chief of Staff, George Marshall. He was worried, really worried, that an Italian campaign would just be a costly distraction from the main event, the cross-channel invasion of France we all know as Operation Overlord. In the end, though, Churchill's powerful vision of that soft underbelly won the day. So, the decision was made. Italy it is. And the plan they cooked up? Wow. It was incredibly complex and seriously daring. This wasn't going to be one single punch. No. It was a massive, three-pronged gamble designed to hit the defenders from multiple directions all at once. The plan basically had three parts. First up, you had Operation Baytown. That was Montgomery's legendary 8th Army landing on the very toe of the Italian boot. The whole point was to be a diversion, to pull German troops south. Then you had Operation Slapstick, a quick, opportunistic grab of the port of Taranto on the heel. And finally, the main show, Operation Avalanche. This was the big one, a massive amphibious assault by the American Fifth Army at Salerno. The goal was to take the port of Naples and trap all the Axis forces down south. And it's here, at Salerno, during Operation Avalanche, that this whole soft underbelly theory slams headfirst into a wall of reality. I mean, any hope of an easy landing, a simple walk in the park, that just evaporated the second those landing craft hit the sand on September 9th, 1943. Can you even imagine the shock for those American troops? Instead of surprised defenders, they're greeted by German loudspeakers broadcasting that chilling message in perfect English. Tactical surprise had completely, utterly failed. The Germans, and not just any Germans, the elite 16th Panzer Division, they were dug in, locked and loaded, and just waiting for them. From there, things went south, and I mean fast. Day 1 was a brutal fight just to get off the beaches. By day 2, the German Luftwaffe was pounding the fleet so hard that an admiral called the air situation critical. Then, on September 13th, the Germans unleashed a massive counterattack that almost shattered the Allied lines, pushing them nearly back into the sea. It got so bad, so desperate, that commanders were seriously drafting plans for a full-scale evacuation. And just to give you a sense of how bad it was, by that same day, September 13th, the U.S. V Corps had basically lost 3 entire infantry battalions. Units at the front were being overrun, and the guys who were left were in a desperate fighting withdrawal just to hold on to the beach. And while the Allies were just reeling, trying to hang on by their fingernails, the German commander in southern Italy, Field Marshal Kesselring, saw his chance, and he acted fast. He was a master tactician, and he started expertly funneling in reinforcements from other armored divisions, hoping to deliver that one knockout punch and throw the Allies right back into the sea. But they didn't break. Against all odds, they held on. Just when it looked like the beachhead was on the very brink of collapsing, a combination of just overwhelming firepower and pure, stubborn grit managed to turn the tide. So how? How in the world did they pull it off? Well, first you've got air power, just absolute overwhelming air power. The Allies threw everything they had into the fight. On September 14th alone, every single available plane, we're talking even the massive strategic bombers, was diverted to Salerno, dumping more than 1,000 tons of bombs on the advancing German troops. Second, you have the Navy. Devastating naval gunfire. The fleet sitting just offshore basically became these giant floating artillery batteries. Legendary warships like HMS Warspite and the USS Savannah just unleashed this relentless barrage. On just one day, the fleet fired almost 2,600 heavy shells, smashing German tank columns and breaking up attacks before they could even get going. So you had all these things coming together at the exact right moment. You've got paratroopers from the legendary 82nd Airborne Division literally dropping right into the middle of the fight as emergency reinforcements. Then, down south, Montgomery's 8th Army was finally pushing forward, threatening the Germans from behind and forcing them to split their forces. And maybe most important of all, the Allied soldiers on the ground, even with horrific casualties, simply refused to break. By September 16th, the German counterattack finally ran out of steam. The beachhead was secure. But that crisis at Salerno had revealed a very harsh truth about the campaign that was still to come. This victory had come at a very, very steep price. The immediate goals, they were met. The Allies pushed inland and they liberated the city of Naples on October 1st. But Salerno wasn't some easy win. It was a total near disaster that basically signaled the start of a slow, grinding, and absolutely brutal fight up the mountainous spine of Italy. The American commander who was actually there on the ground, General Mark Clark, he had his own take on things. And in this really direct, gritty response to Churchill's original optimism, he would later call the Italian campaign one tough gut. And that phrase, it just perfectly captures the brutal reality for the soldiers who had to fight their way up that peninsula. Which really leaves us with this final critical question. The invasion did succeed in the end, but that soft underbelly turned out to be anything but. The fight for Italy would become this long, bloody slog that lasted almost until the very end of the war in Europe. So what was it? Was it a strategic masterstroke that tied down German forces who could have been fighting elsewhere? Or was it a costly, bloody diversion from the main effort in France? That's a debate that historians are still having to this day.